Most of the artists at Epic have come here over the years to work on either Unreal or Gears. That's in all of our DNA, of course, that, that passion for that gritty, hardcore, super detailed art. We love that, of course, but we can do other things as well. So we're not one-trick ponies. The Fortnite art style, it started off as an experiment. We had this sort of starting base of a bunch of photorealistic stuff, and it's like, what can we do with this to transform it as fast as possible into something new? Let's take all of these assets of textures and models and paint over them in Photoshop, or take the models and put deformers on them to, warp out the shapes and exaggerate the style of the object. Even something simple like a fire hydrant in the world. You take it and you warp it out and you give it almost like a caricature of itself. So like a simple environment prop that is normally like a mundane thing all of a sudden becomes exciting.
I was part of the development team on Team Fortress 2 for the Orange Box. This is the second time I've gotten this opportunity, and I absolutely love it. I absolutely love being able to live in this world where nothing that we will eventually end up doing will feel out of place.
We were really keying in on like Tim Burton's movies, Looney Tunes, animation, to try and get this like over-the-top sense of motion and exaggeration into everything.
Dude, I'm an animator. Yeah. Like, I'm always watching Looney Tunes cartoons. The reference that we find covers all of it. It covers, everything from Looney Tunes to Miyazaki to Pixar, Blue Sky, DreamWorks to Devil May Cry and TF. Like, you find that thing that you dig and you see if you can make it yours in an honest way.
We've got 5 sort of visual themes in the game right now, but there's nothing saying we can't branch out into more exotic locales in the future. We get to express a little bit of our sense of humor through the signage and coming up with company names. World building, I guess, is what I would call it. There's a German techno club in the game somewhere because I like electronic music. We're having a lot of fun with that.
A great thing with silhouettes. Worked with TF, it's working here, where I can see somebody from across a map, and just by their silhouette, I can start to gauge subtly what I'm going to expect with some kind of player interaction. It's the same way with the monsters.
We started off with ultimately what feels like a stylized zombie, and then we felt like, well, we don't just want zombies, we want some cool ethereal creatures as well. And this was also another area where Chris Perna helped us out a lot, was basically coming up with some really cool, unique monsters that didn't feel like we'd seen them before. So they sort of fit in with this sort of misty, ethereal feel.
Like, I'm a child of the 80s. I grew up with Poltergeist and Night of the Living Dead and Return of the Living Dead and, Critters. And so a lot of the stuff that we have has that kind of vibe to it. Like, the Flinger has been my favorite. The Flinger's been one of the most recent. He's very muscular, like the fact that he has this huge arm, right? And like it still kind of propagates out through the rest of his body, but he's still really broken.
I think they're scary in the gameplay in what they can do to you, but we don't want them to be grotesque. They're like adorable abominations. Right now we have a sort of cohesive palette of monsters in the game. They feel like they came from the same world, but maybe someday what happens if we put something totally off kilter in there? That'll happen eventually. I don't know when, but we'll see.
Our animators here are sick. They are ridiculously talented. So Fortnite's all keyframe, right? Like, there's no motion capture in it. It's still a naturalistic motion, but we look at stuff like Devil May Cry. Like the new one, oh my God, there is some sick stuff in there. The way that they use his trench coat to convey weight, there's transitions that will happen over 1 to 2 frames. They use the secondary and overlapping nature of that trench coat to still let him settle and it not feel like you're popping. They did some really smart stuff. You take something that would be a normal action, like a character like jumping up with a sword to swing down, and it's like you take all of those moments that already feel exaggerated, crank them till they break, and then you bring them back just enough. It's like, that's it. The first time that we started putting those animations in and people could engage them with the overdrive, we immediately started getting feedback that Melee started feeling better. Anything that you can do that the player and the community perceives as being valuable, being different, and making their experience unique and enjoyable is worth doing.
I don't know if we've necessarily found the boundaries yet. Over time, we're gonna start to put things out that are gonna test those boundaries, and we're gonna look at how the fans react to it and how the community reacts, and we're gonna see, do people like this? Do they want more? Do they want less?
I think we're doing a pretty good job. We got a good rhythm going. It's feeling good.
I think it's just really refreshing to do something that feels so unique. We've gotten so much feedback from the fans saying they don't even know what game to compare this to because it's so different, and that just feels great. The team's done an amazing job really creating something new.